Our next guest, a very funny comedian and actor you know from shows like Silicon Valley and Space Force, as well as Crazy Rich Asians. He stars in Interior Chinatown, which premieres November 19th on Hulu. Let's take a look.
Your brother was a guy from Chinatown.
When he walked in the room, everyone stopped.
Yeah, because of his abs.
When I walk in a room, nobody notices. I mean, look at us, shuffling back and forth, never in action. What are you doing?
Loading a truck.
We're unloading.
Are you sure?
Please welcome to the show, Jimmy O Yang, everybody. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Hi.
I have a lot of questions about your fantastic new show, but I also want to talk about your fantasy football league.
That is the only thing I care about is my
good.
fantasy football.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah.
You did a very special draft this year. My group, we actually went to the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
But then I saw a photo of your draft, and I'm very jealous because when somebody said this is a picture of your fantasy football draft, I was like, what?
We rented out a western town, like 2 hours outside of LA. There's like a jail, a bank,
So like
a
where they
saloon.
used to shoot old westerns? Or?
Yeah, it looks like the set of like Westworld or something.
Okay, I mean, that's certainly what this looks like, save for the football jersey.
Yeah, outside of a saloon, you
Yeah.
know? These are all my boys right there.
That's a good group of guys. You're just
yeah.
in a saloon.
We had this league for like 15 years now. These are my friends from high school, my friends from stand-up, you know, new friends I made. So it's hard for adult dudes to make friends.
I agree.
So this is very special to me.
I also think it's hard for, even if you make friends with an adult dude, you never want to talk about real life stuff.
You know, it's hard to pick up the phone and be like, hey, Jeremy, how's it going?
Yeah.
That's weird for like dudes, right? I don't know why, you know.
But if you call him up and you're like, do you want to trade for a wide receiver?
Yes.
You're going.
Then you're talking for hours.
Hours.
Yeah.
And you feel really connected.
That's our love language.
Yeah, that's our
dudes'
love
language is fantasy football.
You're the commissioner of the league. Again, we have a lot in common. I'm the commissioner of my league. And you took a step. You made a trophy.
Yeah, the first year that I won in like 15 years, I made a trophy for myself. And there's engraving, you know, so you get to put your plaque on, but then I haven't seen that trophy in about 3 years now. It's very sad, and now we have a last place punishment.
That's very exciting. What is the last place punishment?
So this year, you have to sing the national anthem before my show, my stand-up show in San Diego, which is very...
So you have the date picked out.
Yes.
And
January 11th.
And you play a fairly large room. This is like for somebody who's
like
not in
2,000 to
comedy.
3,000 people.
All right.
Yeah.
So one of your buddies from high school might have to sing the national anthem.
I hope so, because I'm also tied for last right now. So it could be me.
You would be, all right, so that's your level of, you're a rule junkie, and you'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna do it.
I have to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I come out as a character or I just come out as myself. It'll be awkward. You know, my pitch is, it's not even funny if it's me. So one of you guys should lose. It'll be way better for the league.
I think the extra rule should be, if it is you, you're not allowed to explain to the audience at any point why you did it.
Yes, just come out and sing it.
And then they leave and they're like, it was so funny. There's one weird part. What is your team name?
Lowball Jim.
Lowball Jim.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with Lowball Jim?
That was actually the first name I used as a stand-up. When I first went on stage at an open mic, you know, Jimmy O Yang, you know, my legal name is spelled like O-U-Y-N-G. It's very hard to pronounce. And then all my favorite comics, like, you know, like even Cat Williams, like Cat, it's like a stage name. Cedric the Entertainer, of course. So I'm like, I need a catchy name. And I was reading some poker book, like Highball Phil and Lowball Jim. So I just went up on stage as Lowball Jim. Yeah, still sticks.
At what point did you abandon Lowball Jim as your stage name?
Very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly. Yeah, they were like, nah, I don't think people would take you seriously.
I will say, and again, I don't know who I'm picturing, but when I hear Lowball Jim, like, I'm picturing something else.
You're picturing,
I am picturing that guy.
This is Lowball Jim. This is Lowball Jim. Yeah.
This is a fantastic show, and this is so unique. Interior Chinatown, based on a wonderful book. You've described it as Twilight Zone meets Law and Order. Can you explain a little bit? Because that is not enough.
Right. Or maybe that's all they need to know. And now everyone's watching.
Yeah, I'm
in. You know? I'm the lead of the show, but I'm actually playing a background character. He's stuck in the background of a Law and Order type show called Black and White. and he just a tiny little guy in the back of Chinatown. And he has a full life. You know, if you ever think about anybody in the background of your life or a background of a TV show, that person has a full life. But it's really also a metaphor of, you know, Asian Americans in this country, you know, the invisibility and oftentimes we're just this little tiny little dot in the back and he's trying to break out of it. But at the same time, it's almost like Truman Show. He doesn't know what's going on yet.
Yeah. I mean, I've only seen the first episode, but it is like there are ideas and there are moves in it that I feel like I have not seen anything else. So I'm very excited to see more. You play a waiter at a Chinese restaurant, and you worked in a restaurant?
Yeah, so one of my first jobs, I was a waiter at a Chinese restaurant in Little Tokyo. I know, very confusing. And the restaurant was called Chop Suey, which I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're here. You know?
Yeah.
Like, we're doing it. And I was actually working with a bunch of like older Cantonese people. I was from Hong Kong, so I speak with. Is there any Hong Kong people here? That was funny, actually. You know, a lot of Cantonese speakers in New York. I just did Carnegie Hall last week.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way. That's amazing.
Yeah, I said some Cantonese. Like the first thing I said on stage at Carnegie Hall was "Omo," which the one guy knows what it means. I'm not gonna go on and explain. You guys can Google it. It means your mother.
Okay. That's very nice of you to do that, because then we can just play the
just
beat.
in case. Yeah, you guys want to play something else.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
We're gonna play something else, and then you're gonna have to watch to find out what we made you say. You mentioned you play sort of a background actor, and like a lot of us, certainly my first job, I had very few lines, but you were on Two Broke Girls.
I was.
This is the first time you were on camera?
Oh, wow.
So,
Why, you got this.
There you go. We got a still of you. There you are. You are listed.
That's Lowball Jim, right there.
Lowball Jim.
That is Lowball Jim.
The casting director was like, "We got a guy named Lowball Jim in here, and he is so right for the part."
But he is such a person in line.
You play person in line as the name of your character.
Yeah, I can always tell how long I've been unemployed by how long my hair is.
Yeah.
This is about 3 years. I'm not ever getting a job or a callback or anything, and then I just ended up like this.
You know, the funny thing about those are, you know, people think maybe they just have a person and they're like, "Oh, this guy can do it," but you did audition for it.
Oh yeah.
Even though mostly what you're doing is being upset in line.
Yeah, which is I'm very good at apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was the angriest person in line, and that's why they picked me. It was actually really interesting. That was my first job, right? Like, I was so nervous. I wasn't even in SAG. Like, I bombed every other audition. And this one, I parked in the wrong place in LA, and I had to sprint like 5 blocks. The casting director was leaving. And I couldn't even catch my breath. I was sweating, and I was actually furious and frustrated. And then I went in with that energy, and I got the job. Yeah. Sometimes that's just how it works.
And it's so funny because it's such a small thing. It's so small, and yet you must have been so happy when you get the
So
call that
excited.
you're like, "You're our angry guy in line," and you're just like,
Yeah.
genuinely, like, I remember
truly.
the first time I got a small part in something, it's like, this is it. Like, because you can't have the next thing until you get that one.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like, I don't know, I paid like $1,000 maybe, but I'm like, I get to be in SAG. This is like what people move out to LA, move to New York for, you know? Like, I made it as an actor, as person in line.
Yeah.
How many people can they say they were person in line?
It paid off. And then Person in Line ended up doing an event with Kamala Harris. This is
Wow.
before she was running, correct?
Yeah, before she was, you know,
Okay.
she was and still is the vice president.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how did they reach out to you for this event?
It was, I don't know. I was actually at a bachelor party with a couple of my boys in New Orleans. And then they were like, Kamala Harris would like you to moderate this with her. And I was like, me? I have plans to go to a strip club tomorrow. And they were like, well, the vice president's calling. You want to come? I was like, fine, I'll go.
Yeah.
You know, very reluctantly. No. It was such an honor. I never visited the White House. So I flew there, and right next to me, I was sitting next to Nancy Pelosi on the plane. And I couldn't believe it, because well, first of all, this lady sat next to me. She was like dressed to the nines, really stylish. And I'm like, this older lady's kind of hot. Who is this, you know? And I was like, holy, is that Nancy Pelosi? Yeah. And I really didn't think it was her because I'm like, why would they let a maniac like me sit next to Nancy Pelosi? And she couldn't be nicer. Like, I mean, I didn't bother her or anything, but she was just like checking the score to the next game and like seemingly didn't have any security around her.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but I guess the White House booked my flight, so I passed the background check. So they allow me to
You can sit next to Nancy
next to
Pelosi.
her. Yeah.
Congrats on the show. I can't wait to see more of it. Thanks so much for being here. Such a
Thank
pleasure
you.
to have
Thanks
you,
for
Jimmy. Jimmy O Yang, everybody, a.k.a. Jimmy Lowball. Interior Chinatown premieres Tuesday on Hulu. We'll be right back.